The minhag at our shul, the minhag at our young Israel, is that the Shabbos after Shavuos, the incoming president, along with the Rav, usually makes a gift presentation to the outgoing president, thanking him for his service, his dedication, his caring for the shul. However, we're in a unique situation, and I feel that calls for a unique response. The presentation of a gift to the outgoing president is normally made at the 9 o'clock minyan in the Joseph S. Strauss main synagogue. Because of our circumstances, in essence, we're now making that presentation to the whole shul. Because of that, I've asked both Jeremy's predecessor as well as his successor, Aryeh Davis and Stephen Kellner, to accommodate me. And indeed, it's both a pleasure and a privilege to have them here this evening. There are three unique situations that Jeremy had to deal with during his presidency. First, the change in our lives regarding security after both the Squirrel Hill Massacre and the Hanukkah Muncie attacks. Second, the change in our lives regarding our health and safety due to the COVID-19 epidemic. And perhaps the most important, the transition from one rabbi to another rabbi. Jeremy, I guess that's why you had to be president for 3 years. It was probably too much to deal with in 2 years. Jeremy, besides thanking you, I think it would be very appropriate to thank your wife Leah as well, the Akeres Habayis. As much as you gave to the shul is probably as much as you took from your family. So I want to thank her as well. To begin our presentation, I would like to call upon Rabbi Trump.
Shalom Aleichem, one and all. They tell the story about a rabbi, a chazan, and a shul president who are traveling along the highway one day, and they're pulled aside by a highwayman who says, "After I take all your belongings, I'm going to also kill you all." And the rabbi says, "Please, one last drasha." And the chazan says, "Please, one last kol nidre." And the president says, "Shoot me first." And I feel like, in a certain sense, Jeremy has been through a lot, Baruch Hashem. No jokes, Jeremy's going to continue listening to drashos and kol nidres for many, many more years. But Jeremy's really been through a lot, as Marvin has just said. And I want to just take a moment to appreciate those who really have given of their time for Jeremy for being president, and that is Leah. I think Leah, we've had the conversations at very, very late night with the level-headedness that Leah has contributed to running this shul over the last numerous opportunities over the years. To Tzipora and now Evan, Be'ezras Hashem, B'Shar Tova, that the wedding should be, and to Harrison, to the entire mishpachas. Has been a very special time, but it's obviously taken a lot out of what would have been an ordinary and much more convenient life should this have not been the presidency of the shul. I also want to acknowledge with admiration those who are getting tremendous nachas, Mr. Barry Chwat and Mrs. Andrea Chwat, Alea Shalom, who must be getting tremendous nachas after especially these last 3 years. And Mirei and Laser Schulman, your beloved parents, who are no doubt very proud of this incredible sacrifice, incredible leadership. When it comes to Jeremy and what one thinks about the qualities that it takes to become a shul president, this is not a job which one, as Jeremy says, gets the big bucks for. This is something which a person does because they believe a person does because they know it's the right thing. And despite all the nonsense, that ultimately they do make a difference in the lives of many, in the lives of protecting and enhancing and inspiring the community which has been continuing to grow under the auspices of that presidency. Jeremy is a committed person. Jeremy is an organized person. Jeremy is always level-headed, no matter what is coming down the road. And most importantly to me, Jeremy is a friend, somebody I can always turn to. I can always air ideas and hear with a straight voice, and sometimes Leah's voice as well at the same time as Jeremy, to have a sense of direction. I want to acknowledge that it's not anybody who becomes a shul president. It's somebody which we have been very fortunate in our shul to have had people in our administrations who've been forward-thinking, who've been people who've been thinking about the best of the shul, and have found those who are willing to be committed. It has been a beautiful change to watch Aryeh Davis handing over to Jeremy and now continuing to Dr. Steve and Marjorie Kellner, which should be, Mr. Hashem, a beautiful Mazel Dika Sha'ah this continued week. Mr. Hashem, Jeremy, as much as you have given to the shul, God willing, you should see the nachas back knowing that you brought this shul so many inches, so many steps, so many miles further from where it started. Mazal tov, mazal tov.
Thank you, Rabbi Trump, for your beautiful words. I would like to call upon Rabbi Teitelbaum to say a few words.
There are inside parts, there are outside parts. All are in great working order. The inside parts, mostly, you really don't see. It's almost like a car. You open up the hood, and one of the famous Jewish comedians used to say, it's so busy because you really don't understand what's happening under the hood. The shul very much appreciates that what you could see was beautiful. The functioning of the shul on the highest level, materially, spiritually. Everything you could see was just beautiful. Under the hood, what you couldn't see was also fantastically functional and working all so well. There's a particular pride that Sari and I have in being able to say this kind of mazel tov to Jeremy and to Leah. We've known them since they came to shul, introduced them to our what was then young couples minyan. They somehow have still stayed a young couple, and here I am, all dark and a full head of hair. We are very proud of them, and for good cause, for good reason. As we've said, everything on the inside that people don't see, everything on the outside, and all done so very, very well. An extraordinarily difficult job, done extraordinarily well. Thank you, Jeremy, until 120 at the very least. Mazel bracha.
Thank you, Rabbi Teitelbaum, for your words. At this point, what would normally take place is our new incoming president, Stephen Kellner, would make a presentation to the outgoing one. So, Stephen, I'd like to call upon you to make the presentation.
I think it's very appropriate that the first time I address the Kehillah, many months into my presidency, is to give Jeremy, and to thank you to Jeremy, and to give Jeremy his reward for his 3 years of presidency. When I think back over the past 3 years, I am awed and inspired by Jeremy's tremendous leadership. Jeremy, you guided the shul through a tremendous transition with respect and grace. You always put the shul first and carefully considered every decision and ramification. You have been accessible to the rabbis, members, and the executive staff, regardless of the tremendous time commitment or personal sacrifice. We are indebted to Leah, Zipporah, Evan, and Harry for their patience and generosity in sharing you with us. We understand that shul presidency is a family job. I appreciate being able to rely on you for guidance, advice, and support at any time. I especially want to thank you for serving our shul for the extra year. May this year, which started with Zipporah and Evan's engagement, be full of simcha and joy for you and Leah. Thank you again, and on behalf of the entire YILC community, have a wonderful retirement. And now, I would like to present Jeremy with a gift of appreciation from the shul for his 3 years.
It's all good.
This cup and plate, let's have everyone over, is presented to Jeremy Chwat in recognition of his dedication and devotion as president of Young Israel of Lawrence-Cedarhurst, June 2017 to May 2020. Jeremy, thank you, and we truly appreciate everything.
Yeah.
Take it.
Thank you. So it's weird not to be able to say thank you a little bit more personally. I know there's a little bit more, but you know, masks on and not being able to give a hug or a handshake or anything like that. But I do treasure you all and thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for any recognition. I know now that the greatest way to end a tenure as president is shutting the shul down for 4 months. So Steve, not that I recommend that for you for pandemic purposes, but if you can get away with it, go for it. Sincerely though, you don't know what you have until it's gone, is the old saying, and I did not realize how important the shul was to myself and to the community, I think. I'm sure a lot of us feel this way. We didn't know what we had until it was gone. And it's been tremendously gratifying to see the shul coming back to life, and will continue to come back to life under your tenure, Steve. And it's been incredibly gratifying to know that I handed the shul off to such capable hands in hopefully at least as good a shape as I got it. Personally thank both of the rabbis for your constant leadership and support and guidance and patience. I know along the way, I'm sure I've inadvertently frustrated you, and please know that it was completely inadvertent and was never meant with anything but the absolute respect. So I thank you for leading me and for leading the shul. I also just want to say thank you to all of the other past presidents. I'm not going to name anyone because I will inevitably forget somebody. As a past president now, I know that's the worst thing someone can do. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has served the shul previously. And I am honored to consider myself one of you now. So thank you very much. And may we all have healthy and happy times ahead.
Fortunately or unfortunately, I know the names of the last 9 presidents. As each president comes towards the end of his term, he sort of counts down and is very happy to hand over the reins to the next president. Aryeh, when you gave the reins over to Jeremy, I don't know what I don't know what you were expecting, but I think you got more than you expected. I apologize. I think you got more than you expected. Aryeh Davis.
Jeremy, we've worked together now for close to 6 years, and I must say, while there were a number of challenges during those 6 years, it was always a pleasure working with you. You've given so much of your time, your energy, and your life to this shul. You epitomize the words, V'chol she'askim b'sarchei b'tzibor be'emunah, one who faithfully occupies themselves with the needs of the community. I can't thank you and Leah and the rest of your family enough. During your 3-year term, your even-keeled demeanor and your thoughtful approach to problem solving were critical to achieving the great successes during your tenure. From the critical task of transitioning our rabbis, from managing the day-to-day operations, and then seamlessly transitioning the shul from the physical to the virtual. It was a pleasure to see you lead this shul with a calm, steady hand. As the Mishnah Baruch I just quoted continues, and I'm paraphrasing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu give you your reward, remove from you all illness, and may He send blessing and success to all of the work of your hands. I would give you a hug right now, Jeremy, but I'm not. So,
Thank you, Ari.
enjoy your retirement.